Welcome to Hollywood, where bright lights hide the bravest stories. Behind the red carpets and movie screens are journeys of courage, identity, and truth. Today, we spotlight transgender celebrities who broke barriers, found their voices, and changed the industry by being unapologetically themselves. Ready to be inspired? Comment one and stay with us. The final story may take your breath away. Being born into fame is hardly an easy path, especially when your parents are Sonny Bono and Cher, two true icons of 1970s glamour and show business. When Chaz Bono was born in 1969 under the name Chastity, he already had a VIP pass to the public eye. From an early age, he appeared in front of cameras, always well-dressed, smiling and fitting neatly into the image the public expected to see. Yet behind those carefully curated appearances and red carpets, something never quite fit. For Chaz, gender felt like wearing shoes 2 sizes too small. You could walk in them, but every step hurt. For years, he played the role expected of him, wearing feminine clothing and following a script imposed by others, even though deep down he knew it wasn't who he truly was. Growing up is hard enough. Doing so under the constant gaze of the world makes it even harder. As he reached adulthood, that inner discomfort became impossible to ignore. Chaz wasn't only struggling against social expectations. He was grappling with a deep need to be true to himself. And with a mother famous for reinventing herself time and again, the question felt unavoidable. How do you create a story of your own? In the late 2000s, he made a decision that would change his life. At age 40, Chaz began his transition, starting hormone therapy and later undergoing surgery, finally giving outward form to who he had always been inside. The process was brave, complex, and very public. He later appeared in widely watched television series such as The Secret Life of the American Teenager and American Horror Story, helping bring visibility to transgender men on mainstream television. Cher has acknowledged that the journey was also a learning process for her, but her love for her son has never wavered. As she has said, what truly matters is that Chaz is happy. His story shows that real transformation isn't about changing. It's about becoming who you've always been. In the fashion world, standing out isn't optional, it's survival. And Andrea Payich didn't merely stand out, she seemed to glow. Long before she became one of the most visible transgender models of her generation, Andrea was known as Andre, the striking male model who could walk a runway in women's couture with an elegance that left seasoned designers speechless. Tall, ethereal, and effortlessly graceful, Andre blurred gender boundaries at a time when the industry claimed it wanted different but rarely knew what to do with it. Designers adored her look, editors chased her image, and cameras never seemed to tire of her face. Yet beneath the glamour and applause, there was a quieter truth waiting to be acknowledged. The image the world celebrated was not the full story. Born in Bosnia and raised in Australia after fleeing war, Andrea grew up feeling out of place. From an early age, makeup and her mother's clothing offered comfort and a sense of calm. Small, private acts of self-expression long before fashion discovered her. Society, however, preferred neat labels and firm boundaries. Fashion, in contrast, thrived on what didn't quite fit, and that contradiction gave Andrea both opportunity and tension. Being admired while feeling disconnected from yourself is a particular kind of loneliness. Andrea understood she wasn't simply an androgynous curiosity. She knew she was a woman. In 2014, she took a decisive step, transitioning publicly and privately, choosing honesty over expectation. Coming out in fashion is one challenge. Succeeding afterward is another. Andrea did more than survive. She redefined what was possible. Her groundbreaking appearance as the first openly transgender model on the cover of GQ Portugal sent a clear message. Authenticity is not a phase. It's a foundation. Today, her story resonates far beyond fashion, reminding us that true beauty emerges when a person finally lives in alignment with who they have always been. Before Caitlyn Jenner became one of the most visible transgender women in the world, she was known as Bruce Jenner, an Olympic champion, an American hero, and the embodiment of athletic excellence. In 1976, Bruce captured the gold medal in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics, a grueling test of strength and endurance that crowned him the world's greatest athlete. For many Americans, he represented disciplined patriotism and the triumph of hard work. Yet while the nation celebrated, Bruce carried a much quieter struggle, one that had nothing to do with medals or stopwatches. From childhood, there were moments of private recognition, trying on his mother's or sister's clothes, not as a game, but as an expression of something deeply felt and long suppressed. Sports became both refuge and distraction, a way to outrun questions that had no easy answers. But even Olympic glory couldn't silence them forever. Life moved forward in very public ways. There were marriages, children endorsements, and eventually reality television fame alongside the Kardashian-Jenner family. Outwardly, Bruce seemed to have it all. Inwardly, the feeling of living in the wrong skin persisted. Despite the family's openness and constant media attention, this truth remained hidden for decades. At an age when many people are thinking about slowing down, Caitlyn was preparing for a new beginning. In her mid-60s, she chose authenticity over comfort. Her transition was not only personal, but cultural. When she appeared on the July 2015 cover of Vanity Fair with the words, "Call me Caitlyn," it marked a turning point in mainstream conversations about transgender identity in America. The transition required adjustment within her family. Some embraced it quickly. Others needed time. Still, Caitlyn's story resonated deeply, especially with older audiences. She showed that transformation is not about denying the past, but about honoring it, while finally living truthfully. Her journey stands as a powerful reminder. It is never too late to become who you have always been. Before she became a cultural force through Orange. Is the new Black Laverne? Cox was simply a child growing up in Mobile, Alabama, one who loved jazz hands, makeup, and anything that shimmered. In a southern town where football reigned supreme and gender roles were rarely questioned, Laverne stood out early. And even then, she wasn't interested in blending in. From a young age, she gravitated toward femininity. What felt natural to her was met with confusion and condemnation by the world around her. Raised in a strict religious environment, Laverne was taught that these feelings were wrong, even sinful. That internalized shame became so heavy that in 6th grade she attempted to take her own life. She survived, and that moment quietly reshaped her future, planting the determination to someday live openly and truthfully. Dance became her refuge. Jazz, tap, hip-hop, if it had rhythm, Laverne embraced it. While her mother supported her passion for performing, ballet was off-limits, deemed too feminine. Still, the stage offered something the outside world did not: acceptance. Movement became her language, a way to express what words could not. Years later, after moving to New York City, Laverne began her transition. She didn't simply step into womanhood. She claimed it with confidence, grace, and unmistakable presence. Her breakthrough role as Sophia Bursay, a transgender woman incarcerated in a women's prison, brought depth, humanity, and visibility to a story rarely told on mainstream television. It wasn't just acting, it was lived truth. Lived. Emmy nominations, iconic red carpet moments, and national recognition followed. Yet Laverne's greatest impact may be her advocacy. She has consistently used her platform to speak about transgender rights, mental health, and self-worth. Her life sends a powerful message, especially to older audiences. Becoming yourself is not rebellion, it's survival. And sometimes it's also a triumph. Before she ever stepped into an MMA cage, Fallon Fox was already preparing for the hardest fights of her life. When she debuted as the first openly transgender woman in professional mixed martial arts, she wasn't just competing for victories, she was stepping into history. Every punch she threw carried the weight of scrutiny, fear, and expectation. Long before bright lights and roaring crowds, Fallon grew up in Toledo, Ohio, quietly aware that something in her life didn't align. From a young age, she felt more at ease in moments when she could simply exist without explanation. But in an era and environment where gender roles were rigid and difference was discouraged, Fallon learned to hide her truth. Survival often meant silence. Her family struggled deeply with her identity. Her mother rejected it outright, while her father believed it was something that could be fixed. What followed were years marked by confusion, emotional pain, and harmful attempts to change who she was. Despite this, Fallon endured. Without family support, she transitioned on her own, slowly rebuilding her life with determination and self-respect. MMA entered her life not as a publicity stunt, but as a proving ground. Fallon trained hard, fought hard, and earned her place like every other athlete. Inside the cage, she faced opponents. Outside it, she faced relentless criticism. After her transgender status became public accusations of unfair advantage, followed claims that ignored the realities of training regulation and discipline required in professional fighting. Before that disclosure, her legitimacy was never questioned. Afterward, the tone changed. Still, Fallon refused to retreat. She stood firm, absorbing criticism with the same resilience she brought to every bout. Her career demonstrated a simple truth: success in sport comes from preparation, skill, and heart, not identity. Fallon Fox became more than a fighter. She became a symbol of perseverance, showing that dignity is sometimes earned not through applause, but through the courage to keep standing when the crowd turns against you. In the end, her fight was never just for wins, it was for the right to belong. When most children are learning how to tie their shoes, Jazz Jennings was already explaining who she was to the nation. At just 6 years old, she sat calmly across from Barbara Walters and stated without hesitation, "I am a girl." There was no script and no uncertainty, only a clarity that many adults spend a lifetime trying to find. Jazz was never confused about her identity. The confusion belonged to the world around her. From an early age, she was drawn to dresses, high heels, and all things pink, naturally gravitating toward expressions of femininity. At first, her parents were unsure how to respond, but Jazz herself became their greatest teacher. When called she corrected them with gentle confidence. This wasn't play acting, it was self-knowledge. Like many children, she once imagined a magical solution that might instantly make her body match who she already knew she was. But magic wasn't what carried her forward. What Jazz truly had was something more powerful, a deeply supportive family, and the courage to live honestly. With her parents' backing, she began her social transition at a young age, becoming one of the earliest and most visible transgender children in America. In doing so, she helped countless families better understand what it means when a child knows who they are. Visibility didn't stop there. Cameras followed Jazz as she grew up on the TLC series I Am Jazz, documenting everyday moments, school dances, medical appointments, friendships, crushes, and setbacks. The show wasn't polished or perfect, and that honesty made it resonate especially with parents and older viewers trying to understand a changing world. By her teenage years, Jazz had become a best-selling author and was named one of Time magazine's most influential teens. Despite constant public scrutiny, she carried herself with remarkable composure. Her message has remained consistent. Self-acceptance begins from within. Jazz Jennings is not just a television personality or an activist. She is living proof that knowing yourself early and standing by that truth is one of the bravest acts there is. When Carmen Carrera first appeared on Season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race, she dazzled viewers with confidence, glamour, and undeniable star power. Her runway presence was bold, her style unapologetic, and her charisma unforgettable. Yet when the lights dimmed and the competition ended, Carmen's most important journey was only beginning. Away from the stage, Carmen faced a truth she could no longer keep hidden. She publicly came out as a transgender woman after the show, choosing honesty over comfort. Doing so in the public eye required immense courage. Some longtime fans struggled to understand the difference between her drag persona and her real-life identity. Carmen, however, was not seeking approval. With grace and resolve, she embraced who she truly was, showing the same strength she once brought to the runway. Her transition also helped spark meaningful dialogue within the entertainment world. Carmen openly criticized a controversial segment aired on the show, calling attention to language she felt was harmful to transgender people. Though her stance drew criticism from some corners of the drag community, she remained calm and firm, advocating for dignity and respect. Importantly, Carmen never led with bitterness. She later expressed warmth toward RuPaul, emphasizing compassion over conflict. Today, Carmen Carrera is a respected international model, a thoughtful advocate, and a powerful example that reinvention is possible at any stage of life when one chooses truth over fear. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to press like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next exciting stories. Your support is our motivation to keep bringing you even more great content. See you in the next video.